Hi, my loves. It's Linen. And this Thoth Thursday is going to be pretty short because we're all anticipating my symbolism videos coming up next month. And I'm so excited. I have been working actively with the symbols and the cards, and it's going to be so exciting to finally get all of that out of my brain and into a video. But for the because I don't want to miss a Thoth Thursday, for this Thoth Thursday, I was going to answer a question that I had and one that I had personally. This has been asked to me on a DM, and I thought, I had this question too. It was burning a hole in my brain until I could figure it out. And when I first picked up the Thoth, it was more so the art that grabbed me, right? I mean, I think that grabs us all. And I was drawn to it. It seemed to shout at me about like this being my system, and I needed to work with this for one reason or the other. And it probably was some about like the study aspect, the academic aspect of it. It really wanted me to dive more into the occult, esotericism, hermeticism. It felt like the deck had an agenda for me. And not so much that I like listening to like things having I'm not really an agenda type of a person. So, but when the deck started talking, like speaking to me through pages of articles and stuff and whatnot, I thought, okay, I'll give it a try. And then when I fell in love with it, I started working with it intuitively at first with almost no occult or esoteric knowledge at all. And then when I started learning look what popped out. Beautiful. When I started learning, reading books, whatever, I started noticing that there was a lot of Egyptian symbolism in the deck. And so in the back of my head, I kept going, what is with the Egyptian deities? What is with this? There was, I needed to know. I think that because of the symbolism that I saw throughout the deck and knowing a little bit of the meanings, and when I would read the Book of Thoth, of course, in the Book of Thoth, it doesn't go into why he chose Egypt and their deities and whatnot. So I started studying, and I found a little passage that talks about how it came about it to be part of how the Egyptian pantheon itself got roped in with Crowley, and how he kind of how it went for him. So basically it starts out with Crowley and his wife Rose's honeymoon. So they venture off, couple in love, right? As much as a love can be for a man like Crowley, I'm guessing. They venture off in a honeymoon to Cairo, Egypt, 1904. And when they get there, they do all sorts of rituals and invoking ancient Egyptian deities, probably some demon. I think that there was some demon magic as well. Definitely some sex magic between the two of them. Maybe even books by Lon Milo Duquette. I think he talks a little bit about the Egypt venture. But the point is that they ventured to Cairo. They were doing all kinds of esoteric rituals and things like that. And they were kind of learning as well, but then Rose, the wife, started having fits, right? Started having actual, what they were calling possessions, started talking real distorted. And then I think that she kept calling out to Crowley, they're waiting on you, or they're waiting for you, or something. Well, Crowley didn't, take much heed. He didn't take much heed in that. But then finally he was like, okay, whatever, show me what you got. And she takes him to a museum that's nearby, I guess a well-to-do museum in Cairo. And they get in there, And of course, she's still in this like kind of I believe she's still in a trance state when they are at the museum. And she leads him to Exhibit 666, which Crowley, of course, finds so synchronistic that he immediately really starts figuring out, okay, what is this? What is this? And it turned out to be the Stele of Reasoning, which is his name for it. It's actually just a mortuary stele, and he named it the Stele of Reasoning. I'll leave, I have a picture of the stele in my Google Drive file. I'll leave it for you below if you want to like see an image of what the original was. Lady Freda Harris did a great job portraying the Stele of Reasoning for the Aeon card. She did a fantastic job with that. But anyway, so Exhibit 666 is this mortuary stele that was like representing Horus, right? And Nuit and all that. Well, after about a month of like after the museum encounter, I'll call it for lack of a better term, that Crowley seemed to have with this stele, there seemed to be a voice that called to him directly instead of through Rose. And he claims that it was a messenger deity named AIAWASS, and I think that's how you pronounce that, AIAWASS. I think it's pronounced like ayahuasca, so AIAWASS. And that this messenger of Horus, because AIAWASS is a messenger of Horus, and so therefore Horus is talking to AIAWASS, and then on down, trickling down to Crowley. And the voice apparently was telling him all kinds of things, like you need to record this, and you need to do this and this and this. And he wrote down, for like the next couple of days, he wrote down everything that this voice was telling him to do, because he believed to be some sort of divine prophet. And then the Book of the Law is what came out of that. This couple of days worth of divine, basically I'll call it divine inspiration from this voice, this AIAWASS voice. And when the Book of the Law was produced, I guess what happened was Crowley came out of trance, because I envisioned this couple of days to be more like a trance thing. Like he had altered his state of consciousness for those couple of days and wrote down all of what he thought and happened and everything, and he was just on some other plane of existence, or like I said, he wasn't really within his own consciousness. And then what happened was, after he read it back, he started actually thinking, okay, this is real. This feels real to me. And so he basically made that became the framework for the Thelema. I keep calling it Thelema, which is Crowley's religion, and which all other, like some magical orders have derived from that as well, from Thelema. The main thing that we get from the Book of the Law is the ultimate commandment, I'll call it, is do what thou wilt should be the whole of the law. And it's basically Crowley, and I don't know if this is Crowley or if this is the way the voice was interpreted through him as prophet. There's a big emphasis on will. I've talked about that in a couple of other videos on this, on my channel in the Thoth playlist. But I think that Crowley growing up the way he did, and how he was I envision him to be like a severe independent person where nothing can hold him down. Like, it seemed to be like a hot air balloon, and his religion and his parents, no matter how much he loved these people, anyone in his life, they were all, he probably felt trapped, tethered in a way to the ground that he never found to be satisfactory. So he was always trying to cut this string to the hot air balloon so that he could fly and be free. And he wanted everything to be emphasized on his own will. And he thought that we should all, everybody should do what they will. If you feel that it's necessary in the moment, if you feel that it's what you're supposed to do, the right thing to do, whatever that may be, do it. It's like you have the power to make up your own mind and will and your own judgment. You're not going to get judged by some higher power. Like, this is his views. And I really like that about Crowley, about how he wants us to be individuals, and then also with knowledge of science and the liberal arts and everything. That's how we expand, through knowledge, and knowledge being power. And then we use said knowledge to make up our own mind and our own lives. Not a lot was said other than just them having the honeymoon in Cairo and her going into a fit or a trance or whatever you want to call it, and then calling forth to Crowley, which led to Horus's a stele representing Horus, the divine child for the new Aeon, and then getting AIAWASS to call down to him in a voice, and Crowley wrote everything he said down. So those are the events that I guess would be why he prays and worships these Egyptian deities, is more to the fact that of all what happened in Cairo and the sequence of events that happened there. So anyway, I hope that you are enjoying the Thoth playlist so far. I want to stress that I'm not an expert. I'm learning with you guys. I want your feedback. If you have any information on the OTO or the AA, or maybe some books that you think that I should read, I'm going to have another video coming up really soon on all the books that I have purchased lately, and it's a lot. And there's some Thoth books in there, some occult books, some esoteric books, and it's just going to be kind of like a random video. So be looking out for that. Feel free to comment and let's chat about the Thoth, because as a lover of Thoth, I want to converse with you guys. And please come back for more Thoth love in the future as we go and dive into the symbolism. Hope to see everybody again on the channel. Much love.